助けに来たぜ。絶望の淵に沈む。ブリーチ、ブレイクソーツ。
Alright, what is going on, you guys? This is your boy the Death Smasher, and welcome back to yet another Bleach Brave Souls video. And we're back again with yet another Who Is Better video. And today we are going to be comparing the brand new 1000 Year Blood War anime version of Ichigo to 6th Anniversary Aizen. Now, while both of these characters have different killers, they are competing with being the top best heart characters that we have in the game, and that's basically more than enough reason to compare them in the first place, like literally. And with that being said and done, it's time for us to start off with breaking down the stats, skills, and the actual strong attacks. So Aizen, on the other hand, is the one character that pretty much implemented Frenzy +2 and pretty much changed the meta for PvE, and not to mention was the first character that made IT really damn easy to the point that you can actually use this character in every single IT without needing the use of killer, just because of how well he was done, with how well he got his skills and his kit as well. But that being said, this is an extra Aizen that I have. My main copy is 5.5, so this is literally gonna be the one I use for PvP in the future, which is why I have him at 2 out of 5 with level 10 SP, so that way we can properly compare him. But anyways, he's got Soul Reaper and Captain Killer, so in Guild Quests, he is definitely gonna have a really big use in terms of what you can do, especially with Captain Killer content, because you do not have that many options for Captain Killer, especially for when it comes to the ranged counterpart, because the only other good viable option is basically 1000 Year Blood War Uryu. But yeah, the Soul trait is strong attack reaches time of -12%. It's T20 with full stamina and weakened defense, so we can compare him nicely. And he's got weakening and drain on his entire kit. It's really damn good because he can basically auto every single content that we have in the game. And keep in mind, his kit is a 3k length beam with a 1020 width in front. His second strong attack is the 960 into homing vortex, and then his SA3 is a complete full screen SA. And that's already really good. And the skills that he does come armed with, he is already going to be immune to paralysis. So for when it comes to autoing stuff like IZ, unfortunately, it's not really all that useful. But it is going to be very useful in IT for whenever we get a map with paralysis pools. So you can use him for that. And he can also dodge Soul Reaper damage of 50%, which is actually pretty nice. It's a neat little gimmick because at the very least, it'll make Aizen survive a bit more often, especially when the enemies are Soul Reapers. He's got a 20% bruiser, a devastation of 40%, full stamina damage boost of 20%, with the bonus ability, of course, it's giving him 45%. Havoc at 20%, Frenzy +2, Debilitator of +5 seconds, Sprinter +1, Sharpshooter, and hit hidden enemies. This guy was the best heart character in the game upon release, and let's see if he still holds that title even now with the fact that Ichigo came out. Now here is what Ichigo has. He has a Ronker and no affiliation killer this time around, so yes, the killers are different. And the main difference to note already is the fact that Ichigo has no affiliation, whereas Aizen has Captain Killer. You can have a bit more of an advantage with the double killers that he has, since we do have a bit more co-op content in which no affiliation mobs are a thing, so Ichigo already gets a plus for that in terms of the killer side. -1 of 5 with level 10 SP, so again, we'll be able to compare them both evenly. And he has a strong attack reaches time of -14%. So that's already better than Aizen because he's going to have higher cooldowns than him. I also have him T20 with full stamina damage boost and weakened defense. And then the kit, unfortunately, he has no status elements. However, there are 2 skills that completely screw over the lack of status elements that this character has. But first, the kit, all you guys really need to know is that he has the same SA1 as Aizen, but has a much faster activation time, and there isn't a split hitbox in between the SA. And then he literally has 2 full screen SAs. The second strong attack being 1080 around him, and then the third 1200 radius around him. So pretty damn nasty considering this is the first character to get 2 full screen strong attacks. Well, technically it's Power Badagon, but his SA2 takes like what, 16 seconds to come back? Just saying. And then looking at everything else, he also has read all affiliation dodges, making him completely future-proofed for every single Transcendence quests and Instant Common quests where the enemies have dodge. You can basically read all the types of dodges with this character. He also has Long Stride, so he's going to be very speedy, and also has stamina recovery to himself and his party members. The skills, 40% Bruiser, Devastation of 60%. He also has Shared Complete Status Immunity, so he's going to have a bit more survivability, Havoc at 20%, Frenzy +2, increased damage to enemies not afflicted by an ailment of 100%, so he's already going to be doing more damage than Aizen. That's if the enemies are not procced by a status ailment. He's also got Sprint +2, Marauder, and hit hidden enemies plus Pierce Iron Skin. So already that is going to be a huge plus for Ichigo, because in Inheritance Trials, he's just going to be the better character to use overall. But that being said, each character has their own pros and cons, so here's what we're gonna do. We're basically gonna give both of these characters the best possible setup that we can give them and run them on both single player Inheritance Trials and single player Inheritance Zone, so that way we can put out a very even comparison between the two characters. So with that being said and done, let's just go ahead and get right into it. his were the runs, and as you guys saw in both IT and IC, Ichigo just outclassed Aizen purely because of his ability to ignore Iron Skin in IT while also having Long Stride and Sprinter +2. But fortunately, Aizen was still no joke regardless, as he was able to clear by just being 3 seconds slower in IZ because of the 960 into homing vortex helping him out, on top of just being a really strong character. But now it's time to go ahead and dive into the pros and cons for these characters. Starting it off with Ichigo's pros, ignore Iron Skin. Just this skill alone made him be able to clear one of the hardest content in the game by just being 1 of 5 in a matter of minutes. It's what makes him the best character for IT currently. Faster character. Long Stride and Sprinter +2. May as well treat this like a Sonic game with him. Complete status immunity. Immune to everything and is not getting screwed over by anything. Also, because it's a shared skill, he can grant said immunity for 10 seconds to his allies if hit by an enemy that inflicts a status ailment or stands on an ailment puddle long enough to activate it. Out damages Aizen. The 100% damage that he does to mobs that aren't affected by a status ailment is just broken enough that he just does a lot of damage. Because of the skill alone, you can choose to also build him into a Nat character since he also has 40% bruiser. Great pros, but now if I have to give Ichigo cons, it would be these. Not the best lead for guild quests. Now don't get me wrong, the 100% damage he does is no joke, as well as Frenzy +2 backing him up. Still by far one of the hardest hitting characters in the game. The problem here is we're talking hard guild quests. At the bare minimum, you can get sub 10 provided you have him worked with the best of links and accessories, as well as transcendence for both him and the side units. But the fact remains that he is not getting sub 1 compared to the likes of Bruno, Artbook Ichigo, Christmas Noel, or 7th Anniversary Ichigo as both an Aronker killer and as a no affiliation killer. He may have a high devastation with the extra 100% damage scaling the soul bomb damage output, but not having weakening when it immensely helps with lowering the boss's defenses and not being able to give the other side units a skill that can help do more damage says otherwise. So in the end, for when it comes to both Aronker and no affiliation guild quests, if you're trying to go for sub 1, it's best to have 7th Anniversary Ichigo and Christmas Noel do the job for you, and just run him as a side unit to sync the strong attack to nuke the entire guild quest run. And unfortunately, you're gonna mainly be using Ichigo in the Aronker and no affiliation guild quests, whereas Aizen, you can basically easily use him for every single GQ out there because of the vortex. Which, by the way, I'm gonna dive more into how you can do that with Aizen, so moving onward, here's the next con. Won't auto as well as Aizen. Okay, I get that some people will say, he has complete status immunity and stamina recovery, what are you on about? Now please give me a brief minute to explain this. While for manual playing he is an absolute Chad, it cannot be said the same for autoing since he is a melee unit. He will get up close to sometimes try to nad and then use his essays, and when you get hit, the only way you're recovering stamina is if you move to the next map of the quest. Aizen, on the other hand, is able to auto a lot more efficiently just because he is a ranged character. He can weaken the mobs and also drain on top of that to get his HP back, and can stun lock every single mob with his SA2. Not in the premium pool. Sadly, despite being the very first anime version of Ichigo of the 1000-Year Blood War arc, they still decided to keep these characters outside of the premium pool. Want a 5 out of 5 this character? Use all your orbs on whenever he's out, and use whatever move sources you have available to use on him if you care about getting him to 5 out of 5. That being said, Ichigo is still a fantastic character that excels in every game mode, with the exception of being used as a main in guild quests, and of course autoing in general. But now it's time to move on to Aizen, and here are his pros. Double status elements. The fact that he can lower the enemy mob's defenses to do slightly more damage, as well as reducing the attack by 1, is still a great factor. And on top of being able to drain is also nice because he can get his health back with ease. Speaking of drain, the next pro is auto's better than Ichigo. Him being a ranged character with those same status elements and having the vortex accompanied with the 960 on SA2 offers him insane crowd control to the point that there is just no way he's dying unless he's built badly. Better lead in guild quests. Now I will say that in terms of soul bomb damage, It's not going to be the same as 7th Anniversary Ichigo, whom he shares the same killer with. However, he is just going to be an overall better character to use as a main runner, since he does have the Godly Kit with Weakening, and if you apply Weakened Defense and full stamina damage boost on the bonus abilities, you can very well get an insane run done, provided you have the side units to go along with Aizen. Which, that being said, Aizen can be used as a main in every guild quests, and if you have the side units, you can still get a fast and guaranteed clear even outside of his own killer rounds. An example would be if you had 2 Senkamen Tatsukis, Max Transcended, T20, which are free to play by the way, Human Killer Guild Quest is on, and you happen to bring Aizen as a main. It will work because you can stun lock the bosses with the Vortex, get the Weakening to proc, and you'll be able to clear by just letting the Tatsukis do the damage for you. In the premium pool, this character currently is widely available in more banners, and you can pull him from tickets, making it easier to 5/5 him compared to Ichigo. Still a lot of good assets for Aizen, but now if I were to give the cons to him while comparing this unit to Ichigo, these are what it would be. Lack of complete status immunity. Now yes, Aizen can drain and can recover his health, but when we have inheritance trials in which they give enemies drain immunity, you're screwed. And Aizen is only immune to paralysis puddles, so if there is an IT with poison or burn puddles and the enemies happen to have drain immunity, or even if you get screwed over by a freeze puddle and enemies attack you while being frozen, again, it can immensely say F you. Bit of a hit or miss con, but considering now that complete status immunity is becoming a lot more common as a skill for newer characters, it can somewhat affect some people. For me, it's a miss, but the same factor cannot be said for everyone. Needs to proc status elements in IT. Now, Aizen is still a fantastic character. At 2 out of 5, he can clear IT, however he won't clear it in the same fashion as Ichigo, where he can ignore it and get a faster run done at 1 out of 5. Which is sad to say, but this is where Aizen has fallen off as a character. Him at 5 out of 5 just does not compare to Ichigo only for IT. Everything else, he still holds up fine. And now, as for the overall conclusion, and this is for both in terms of value and strength, keep in mind, Ichigo is just the clear winner. He just is able to excel in 90% of the content that Aizen can do, while the other 10% Aizen is basically able to do so in guild quests, and for when it comes to autoing the much harder content that we have in the game. But despite all that, with how hard he hits, how fast he clears, and just that one skill that made IT into a joke fest, plus the double full screen strong attacks, really put him up there with being better than Aizen. That being said, Aizen, with the way of how he was built up, it's still crazy to think that he lasted for more than a year by just being the best heart unit in the game. We went from having a super pod character like Christmas Ninny that potentially replaced Aizen in IT, but because she was so limited, not everyone had access to her, and Aizen was just by far the better runner even without the skill in and of itself. Same thing could be said for CN, despite having a much better chance of proccing status elements. And then we had Spirits Are Forever With You Yoruichi, who just had more DPS than Aizen and increased status element chance against every mind mob, but she didn't have the same kit as him, therefore she never beat him for the number 1 spot. It's units like this that when Caleb knows how to make them right, they last for a very long time, and even now that he has the title taken from him attribute-wise, he is still going to last for a very long time, even at the time of the recording of this video. I still use him to this day because he is my favorite character in the game, so there's still a lot to merit from just using him. So yeah, these are the top 2 heart units that we have in the game, and in my opinion, both are worth having and are worth working on. Just having these 2 units in the game for a heart just basically sets you up to tackle on every content in which it requires to use heart-only characters. And that ends the overall showcase between the 2 characters, and if you guys have actually enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button, share this video with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and hit the bell notification so that way you guys are up to date with my most recent videos, and let me know if you guys want more of these. It's just that these videos do take a lot of time and planning out in order to get them done, but whenever I get the chance to do so, it's always fun. So yeah, and I don't know. You guys want me to do a comparison between Ichigo and Thousand Year Blower Yamamoto? Because, like, they're the top best characters in the game, but, like, I don't know. I just... I don't even know how and where I can actually begin to compare them, so that's why. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below, so yeah. This has been your boy, the Death Smasher, and I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Expect some good-ass showcases to come by, because guess what? I actually have the Speed 1000 Year Blower Shinsui 5.5. He's getting his resurrection soon enough, and I'll be showcasing him. So yeah, that being said and done, take care lads, peace out.